Welcome. If you are watching this back on the playback, hey, I'm Sarah. And this is a place for people who are deconstructing their faith, who are questioning their faith, and looking for a place to connect, maybe to meet some other people who are in the same place. So, basically, I read the comments and answer questions that way. So if you are watching this back, I think it takes 24 hours maybe for those comments to be available. I don't totally know why. So if you can't see the comments right away, let me know. But they should show up in 24 hours then. So yeah, just a little background about me. I grew up Protestant, evangelical, and I started questioning my faith when I was in my mid-20s. Hell was definitely kind of the first domino to fall. I now consider myself to be an agnostic atheist. So basically that means, I don't believe in God, but I also don't think I can really know for sure. So that's how I kind of land in agnostic atheism. But I think honestly, for people who are going through this process, that's certainly not the only place that you can land. I think people end up all across the spectrum of remaining in their belief system to maybe believing in God, but not part of an organized religion. I think there's a lot of places on that spectrum that people end up. So certainly not saying that where I ended up is what happens to everybody. But I've created this account and I do these lives for people who are going through this because I think it's something that is really lonely and really painful. Hi. Hello. Hi, Thing. Hi, Goji. Hey. Well, hi, friends. Hello, hello. Thanks, RP. Am I a Christian? No. I used to be one, but I am not any longer. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Well, thanks for subscribing, Brad. I appreciate it. Hi, John. Okay. How do you help family if they think you're going to hell? So, yeah, that's really hard. I mean, I don't think, I don't think you can alleviate them of that fear. So, I think it depends on how you want to handle it. Thanks. So I'm starting to get a few creepy comments. So I'm going to move this over to, it'll say subscriber only can comment, but just a reminder that subscriber only means follower. It doesn't, yeah, well, there you go. See, you can get some crazy comments. Yeah, so subscriber doesn't mean anything to do with money. It just means following. Oh, nice thing. So, Faze, I left Christianity because I genuinely stopped believing it was true. I have a longer answer in my FAQ playlist. Thanks, Han. Hey, PCC. Well, I think it'll be a lot better now that I put the filter on. So thank you, though. I appreciate it. About why you turned Christian. Well, as long as you're not trying to convince other people, like I don't want people to use this space to, proselytize. Hi, Matthew. For a living, I'm a physiologist. Alex says, I subscribe just to tell you I can prove Jesus is God. You know what? If you can fit it in the comment, it's a pretty small, I think you're pretty limited in your number of letters. I went to Sunday school when I was a kid. Ah. Well, Goji, I'm very glad that your little brother is better. How do you know which God did it? Spirit, I don't, Spirit says, is leaving religion leaving your lack in faith for good? I don't know what that means. Goji, why do you think there's only one? Mayor McCheese, is that for me? Karishma, I am not a polytheist. I am an agnostic atheist. Ah, okay, gotcha, Mayor. Charles, hi. It's good to see you. Are you Catholic or Orthodox? So I am not a Christian anymore. I am an ex-Christian. Hi from Uganda. Oliver says, after you deconstructed, did you abruptly stop reading the Bible altogether? Like how long until that discipline disappeared? Yeah, I did. I stopped reading it once I stopped believing that it was true. Hi, Fish. Hi, Gohan. What kind of Christian were you? I was a Protestant Christian. Oh, you're from Brazil. Well, hello to Brazil. Hi, Chip. It's good to see you. So I used to be a Christian. I no longer am. Oh, New Jersey. That's fun. Hi, Judith. Any flavor of Protestant? So I grew up in a Presbyterian church, but I don't claim Presbyterianism because I also was part of some other denominations. Hey, skeptics. Kansas City, nice. What gets me through the day now that I've left religion? Gosh, a lot of things. Um, I mean, there's a lot of things that I find meaning in or hope in. I don't have a God now. Alex, wait, hang on. I'm going to scroll up. Bye, thing. How did the whole secular Bible study thing start with Justin? I don't remember if it was my idea or his. It was one of those things we just talked about and thought it would be a good idea. C. Gray says, hi, did you keep attending church for a time after stopping belief? Thinking of partnering kids that like that community. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact timeline, but basically I attended church all through like my questioning period. And then once I realized that I didn't believe at all anymore, then I stopped going. But I mean, I do understand why people continue to. So for people asking why I don't believe anymore, I actually have a whole video about that that you can watch. It's short. I have a frequently asked questions playlist. So you can go to my FAQ playlist and that will give you the whole backstory. Hi, big girl. You guys want to say hi to Ruby. This is Ruby. You good girl? Yeah. Oh, that's a good baby. She's a very sweet girl. Thanks. Yeah, she's the best. Do you have a short version? Yeah, it's very short. It's not long. I know, she does not like the camera. She's like, why are you putting that in my face? Ugh. Dr. Joe, hello. Hey, Princess. We've just been kind of talking about deconstruction in general so far. Oh, yes. Greg, I did update the channel picture. Yeah. No, you're not crazy. Do you think Christianity taught you anything that you will keep? You know, it's interesting there because I grew up in it. There were things that I learned from Christianity that I probably would have learned other places. But I mean, it certainly taught me about selflessness and compassion, which I certainly still value. Hi, Flock. Gohan says, did you investigate other flavors of Christianity before you stopped being a Christian? So the problem with that for me personally was that like I was not loyal to any denomination. It was that I was reading the Bible and then believing that I had a relationship with God. And so eventually I stopped believing that the Bible was true. And then I stopped believing that God existed. And so it really wouldn't have made sense for me to investigate other denominations of Christianity because I didn't think any of it was true. Yeah, you're welcome, C. C says, I finally hit the point where the last strings are coming loose. Appreciate the insights now that it's completely a performance for me. I think, you know, for those of us that deconstruct, there are a lot of tough questions or tough situations we have to navigate, you know, when it comes to who do you tell and do you have to tell anyone? And how does it affect things like your family? And do you still go to church? And, I don't think that there are concrete right and wrong answers to that. I think it depends. PC, I technically have a website. There's not much on it. But I have a lot of content over on my TikTok as well. Oliver says, I feel like I can understand not believing in scriptures. As an evangelical, I don't understand why that I simply don't believe in the Apocrypha as inspired scripture. Yeah, when I believed, I had such a rigid view of what I thought the Bible was. I used to believe that it was the perfect inerrant word of God. And that is such a narrow definition. It's easier for that whole house of cards to come tumbling down. No, PCC, I don't despise Christianity. Hi, Manta. Well, I'm glad you got through it, Greg. Yeah, for anyone interested, I'm going through the book Mere Christianity right now. So I have 2 videos on my page. Go ahead. I used to think that there was evidence. The funny thing about evidence is like you get different amounts of evidence when you grow up in the church, And so when I was a kid, it was like anything my pastor told me, I just believed, right? Because you're a kid. And so then going through like various amounts of my own research and my own schooling, um, some things I was like, oh, that isn't true. But I learned new things too. So like the amount of evidence kept sort of shifting with new things that I was learning. But I definitely thought that there was evidence. Yeah. How long after deconstructing did you lose the ingrained fear of hell? Yeah. I think I was a little unusual in this case in that once I stopped believing that there was a God, I stopped being afraid of hell. Um, yeah, Larry, that's why I'm in a subscriber only mode because the comments get that bad. Um, I know a lot of people though, mention that even when they stop believing in God, they retain that fear of hell, and that's really normal. So, Rodney, hell was kind of the first domino to fall in my deconstruction, but I didn't stop believing because of hell. Like, I think that's an oversimplification. Greg says, I will say it's amazing how all the arguments C.S. Lewis makes are the same ones as today. Yeah, it's interesting, Greg. Like reading C.S. Lewis, I feel like, oh my gosh, this is where a lot of like the Phil Bros are getting these arguments. Like I hear the same arguments over and over. CK says, granted, I was 17 at the time, but it took a few months to stop fearing hell when I first became an atheist. But it's interesting seeing others still struggle with that. Yeah, I think part of that is like, especially the evangelical idea of hell. I mean, it is what's the most terrifying thing you could possibly imagine. And so I do think it's completely reasonable for, your brain to just retain that fear, even when it's not logical, because it's been sort of programmed into your nervous system. Did you ever consider staying in the Christian world after you stopped believing because of the sunken cost fallacy? No, I couldn't. For anyone who has like watched me on debates, you know that I have no poker face. Like I just can't hide what I'm feeling and thinking, which sometimes is a strength and sometimes is a weakness. And so I could not go there and fake it, partially because I was on the worship team, I was teaching Sunday school, I was leading a small group, and like I wasn't in a position where I could have just like passively gone and been there and left. I can understand like why some people are able to do that, but I would have had to like lie, and I just couldn't do it. Oh, the whole Jezebel spirit thing is, yeah, I get that, Salt. Bye, PC. Chip, thank you for the super chat. Chip says, Sarah, your facial expressions in debates are priceless and should be made into emoji. The line like posts clips of the debates and they do like a freeze frame of my face and I'm like making the craziest faces, the craziest expressions. Like, oh God, that's what I look like. Gohan, I'm not going to go through that in this chat. C says, similar to belief in hell, giving up the thought of an afterlife in general has put a whole different spin on the choices I make. This is it hits hard sometimes. That was a really difficult part of my deconstruction too. Thanks, Rachel. Greg says, every time I hear Jezebel, I think of Christy Burke and her channel. Yeah. Oh, I love Christy Burke. She's so good. Hi, Katie. DX, we do not have the choice. Like, you cannot make yourself believe something. You have lots of choices in your life, but belief is not one of them. So, Gohan, it wasn't like I made a choice to leave Christianity. I just stopped believing it was true. And there wasn't just one thing. Same, Eve. Yeah, I would too. Well, thank you, Scott. I hope you find peace as well. Doesn't stopping believing suggest you made a choice? No, it doesn't. Um, it is a thing that happens to you. I did not want to stop believing. My choice was to keep believing, but I was physically unable to. Oliver says, well, after you stopped believing, did you ever think about the once saved, always saved debate? So I see this phrase used in two different ways. So, like, compared to orthodoxy, Protestants believe that once you are saved, you're generally saved even if you sin a lot. But like, so I believed that part of it, that like, as long as you kept believing, even if you sinned a lot, you were still saved. But I never believed that if you actually stopped being a Christian, that you would still be saved. So I, yeah, I never thought that like non-believers were saved. Yeah, Greg says, would you say it's kind of like once you see it, you can't unsee it? Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, Ohio, John Cohen is great for sure. What is your advice for someone who is looking for reasons to become unconvinced? That's interesting. I don't encounter many people in that position. I mean, I think for anyone, it's always worth examining why you believe what you believe. For some, just actually reading the whole Bible will do it. Um, Learning church history, learning about ancient cultures, just reading a lot, I think is always good. Yeah, Sid, that must be incredibly frustrating. No, Oliver, I never really saw any miracles. Hey, Lord. Yeah. Well, yeah, Greg, the Bible is a very long book. Hey, Pickin, welcome. Yeah, so Gohan says, I don't want to be wrong, so whatever I believe, I want it to be true. So I'm trying to disprove myself. You're saying looking at church history is a strong starter. Yeah, I mean, but it also depends on what your beliefs like about the Bible are. So, like, if you are Catholic, I think that will feel really different than, say, if you're Protestant or Orthodox. So it depends. I mean, you could start by reading like Bart Ehrman. That might be a good place to start. Scott, congratulations on being sober, but no, that's not a sign of divine intervention. Um, People do that all the time without the aid of God. Um, but I'm very happy for you. Oh, that's interesting. Go ahead. You're doing this for Lent. So yeah, for people who are Catholic, like I think the changes that have the Bible has undergone, I don't think would bother you as much. And I think Catholics are more, I don't know, more open to the pretty dark history of Christianity. Um, but I think maybe you could look at you know, Jesus not really fulfilling any of the prophecies. You could read, I think Bart Ehrman might be a good place to start. Well, I mean, Oliver, that feels kind of like a backhanded compliment. So I'm not quite sure how to take that. Yeah, Greg says, I was raised Catholic and the Bible wasn't really worshipped like it is in evangelical circles. Yeah, it is really, it's such a big difference how Protestants versus Catholics view the Bible. Um, James, we're not going to insult people on here. We don't do that. You're welcome, Gohan. Good luck with your investigation. Yeah, Pickens says, I was talking to a Catholic today who's trying to encourage Catholics to be proud Catholics and find their identity in it. I said tribalism should be the opposite of the point. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the moderators are really quick. Mods, we see the weird stuff so you don't have to. Hooray! Thanks, Frederick. So this is a channel for people who are leaving their faith or deconstructing their faith or questioning their faith, and to find some support and community in that lonely process. Nathan says, just got off a live stream where the guy was claiming to be deconstructing atheism, said they usually hold certain presuppositions Seemed like he argued by appealing to consequences. The fact that there are consequences? I guess I'm not sure what that means. Manta says, I've been reading about Buddhism and Hinduism lately, and it's interesting. However, many things aren't especially convincing. Yeah. I feel that way about those like types of religions where I think um it would be cool if this was true, but I don't think it's true. Oliver says, I really didn't mean for that to come off as backhanded. I'm sorry. Apology accepted. I believe you. I believe you were not trying to be insulting. He says, I just know that there are people who don't believe anymore, and I think that God can use that to help people who are down. So I think the only part that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was like, if you think that I am doing something for God by doing this, that's all. But yeah, I don't think you were trying to be rude or mean. Thanks, C. Jester, no, I'm not a nihilist, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, CK, Airman is still certainly a scholar, so might be still worth it. Tired of Liars says it's hard to believe that God in the Bible is truly a God. Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, I'm going through the Bible with Justin from Deconstruction Zone, who is actually educated in like ancient Near East, and it is amazing, especially in Genesis, how the God that is described there is so human and is definitely not omnipotent. Hey, princess. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can understand that, Oliver. Hi, John. Yeah, Tired Justin is awesome. He's great. Yeah, Sid says, I think the Bible is more fun to read when you read it like the Iliad or something, a story. It is more fun. There are some really boring parts, and there's also some really wild narrative. Yeah, it's absolutely more fun that way. Hey, Prestige. This is a new one for me. Sorella says he's 3-in-1 Jesus, Joseph, and God. I have not heard of that Trinity before. Who was my favorite Bible character? It's funny that when I got really into it, like my super, super devout, I liked Paul, which maybe I was a bit of a masochist. like, um, he is no longer my favorite. I see him with very different eyes now. Well, hi, from Turkey. Oh. Oh, that's okay, Sorella. Pagan says, as a kid, it was Samson. I named my first dog after him. Aw. I recently listened to Dr. Jennifer Bird about Samson and yikes. Oh, I haven't heard her talk about Samson. Hi, Ekta. Tired says, one thing about Justin is he missed out on so much of the real world while he was a believer that he misses a lot of common references. Well, to be fair, Justin still doesn't consume much popular media. So that may not have been specific to religion. I think it's still true of him now. Perilous, I haven't read Debune's book. It is funny, Chip. Well, I'm happy for you, not a robot. Oh, Oliver says, I'm curious on how you view eschatology now, or what position did you take on the subject as a Christian? So, when I was a Christian, I mean, I took the pretty, oh, Ruby, um, evangelical take on it. Like, I thought there was a pre-trib rapture. Oh, yeah. Not a robot says, my family doesn't really do mental health care and they're still staunchly religious. I can't really talk to them about it because they'll tell me the only solution is God. If you don't already have access to therapy, I did therapy. It was super helpful. There is the organization called Secular Therapy Project, right? Secular Therapy Project. And that's a resource to find therapists that won't try to use religion in order to give you mental health care. Thank you, Charles. Pickens says, I could be way off, but I've always struggled with St. Paul because he gives me the vibe of a self-aggrandizing charlatan who showed up later. And I just imagine the other apostles' massive side eyes. They had to have given him massive side eye. Yeah, you're welcome. Sorella, I don't know if I understand what you're asking. Did you drop some doctrines before leaving the faith? I don't remember in that. I know a year in some sense sounds like a long time, but in another sense, it was very fast. So I was kind of all or nothing about it. Yeah, Manta says, I remember going to deism before landing at atheism. I think that's relatively common. I've heard that from a lot of people. Yeah. What was the ultimate reason you left faith? So it wasn't even really leaving, in that, I know my username is maybe a bit of a misnomer. I just stopped believing it was true. And once I stopped believing, I didn't really have much of a choice. No, I am not an artist. What do I believe in? I mean, I don't believe in anything supernatural, if that's what you're asking. But the llamas, I did do a great llama painting. That is true. Emily Elizabeth, I have a video on my FAQ playlist that will give you the whole backstory. Me and my llama. Hmm. Yeah, I can understand feeling complicated about confession. Do you believe in anything? I don't know what you mean by that. Hi, she. Yeah, Marie says, sometimes I wish I believed. Yeah, I get that. I mean, for as much as Christians accuse me of taking the easy way out or being a quitter, it would have been so much easier to keep believing. So Scott, I don't believe in any higher power. Emily, I grew up Protestant. Peerless, you have llamas and alpacas? I love that. Oh, that's awesome. You are rich in life. Hi, Lobster. Do I regret my time as a believer? No, I do regret some of the things I said to some people, though. Perilous. Do secular atheist communities have the same rally for people in a foxhole thing that I've witnessed in faith communities? Yeah, of the like deconstruction communities that I'm part of here online, there is very much, people have had financial issues, healthcare issues, and it's very much like the community will help you, will donate for you, will do what we can. So there definitely is that. Yes. So Scott, I understand and practice science. It's not a belief system. No, Sorella, I don't go to church anymore. Do you like Hinduism? I think it's interesting, but I will be honest, I only have kind of a surface level understanding of it. Katie? Yeah, the nice thing about science is that it's based on evidence. Lobster says a lot of atheists reassure their still religious families by telling them that they are still the same person, but I don't have that. I have fundamentally changed how I interact with the world. Yeah. I mean, I imagine you still like have a lot of the same, core values that you were a good person before and now you're still a good person, even if the way you interact with the world is different. No, I wasn't hurt by Christians. Do you think fear is what keeps most people believing? It's a complicated answer. Um, I think, yeah, I can't just cleanly say yes or no. Bye, Chip. Because I think that there's an element of fear, and not even just like fear of going to hell, but um, Christians will often look at doubt, especially if doubt really has you questioning if God is even real, as like a moral failing, like, oh, you couldn't be strong enough in your faith. You couldn't withstand the trials of being a Christian. And so I think there's also sort of this fear of like being that person, like being a disappointment to your community. I think there is some of that too. Hmm. Emily says, I grew up going to an extremely strict religious denomination and switched over to non denominational. In both polar opposite environments, I was still spiritually abused and manipulated. I'm so sorry to hear that, Emily. Yeah, Pickens says, fear, family, hope, and love all play a part in staying in faith. Yeah, I agree. It's complicated. Well, friends, I think I'm going to call it a night. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I do have the Evangelical Bible Study that you can watch here on my page, or you can listen to it as a podcast. Um, it's on, yeah, thanks, Charles, Apple and Spotify. Um, Emily, yeah, I usually just talk about this one thing, and I've got a bunch of videos you can kind of explore to get a better sense. Yeah. I'm glad it was interesting, Scott. I will be back, what's today, Tuesday? So I'll be back on Thursday. So I'm live on YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm on TikTok the other nights. So come over and find me on TikTok as well. But thank you guys for hanging out, and